Hello all, my name is Nicholas Latona, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing a major benefit that has been added to the small engine world. Sitting in front of me I have two engines, a GY6 150cc and a Laymen Greyhound 212, which is what Harbor Freight carried prior to the Predator family line. These two engines are very different in many different ways, but the main difference we are focusing on today is the ignition type. The GY6 has an ignition type known as a capacitive discharge ignition, also known as CDI. It utilizes a capacitor, as the name suggests, to store voltage for a spark. This means the engine has to have a power source, like a battery or a stator, to generate voltage, or in some cases, both. When the magnet on the flywheel passes the pickup, which, let me show you the magnet down here. It's rather small. On a GY6, your flywheel magnet is extremely small. When the magnet of the flywheel passes the pickup, it sends an electronic ignition signal to the CDI. The CDI is consistently aware of how fast the engine is spinning, and based off the speed, it adjusts the timing of the spark accordingly. This is the standard on many a GY6 and a lot of other engines. However, this is not the same ignition found on a Honda GX200 or clones thereof. Instead, these engines rely on a transistorized magneto. When you think of a generator moving magnets past leads to generate current, it is essentially the same. It has a much larger magnet on the flywheel. This is the magnet right here, as you can see. It has a much larger magnet on the flywheel that it moves past the pickup at 2 points. As you can see, we have 2 lead points right here. At the first point, it energizes the pickup itself. The second point sends the spark down toward the spark plug itself. This, in and of itself, has its strong points and also weaknesses. For starts, it requires no outside power, no battery, no stator, no charging coils. It is very simple. So long as it is gapped properly from the magnet, your pickup should work unless it has failed. This makes it a very stable ignition type, requiring no external power and less parts overall. This stability has a cost, however, that is seen more the faster you spin a GX200. Since the spark occurs as soon as the flywheel makes a lap, as the engine spins faster and faster, the spark occurs further and further down the downstroke of the piston, reducing your power. As you're spinning it faster, this magnet is getting further and further away from this point right here faster. It has, even though it's sending the signal here, it is moving faster than it was at the original idle where it would pass here. And in case I did a poor job describing that, we can take a look at this infographic here and see that at 1,000 RPMs we're right at the start of the downstroke. At 2,000 we've made it slightly ahead of the downstroke. But then at 5,000, by the time it fires off, you're already over halfway through the downstroke. You're putting a lot of stress on that connecting rod, and this is why you have to reinforce your connecting rod on an engine that you can't change your timing on. It also leads to losing a lot of power and potentially blowing out excess fuel. When you remove the governor and start getting into heavier modifications, however, this becomes more and more apparent. With the timing advanced by about 8 degrees, making it a total of 32 degrees, you peak closer to 4,500 RPMs. This means you're further off time at idle and only go a tad out of power band with the top end of 5,000 RPMs. This means in no way can a GX200 maintain its power band, as there is no variable timing. However, since the GX200 clones are used in go-karts, mini bikes, as well as racing, having some form of variable timing would be a huge benefit. This leads us to why we're here in the first place. I've attempted to achieve variable timing on a Predator 212, which is actually sitting right here. This was meant to be achieved using electronic fuel injection, or EFI. This, however, has a lot of downfalls on a GX200. There's no direct bolt-on, custom intake must be fabricated, sensors put all over the freaking thing, and then lastly a price tag over $600 with no guarantees that it'll even work properly with your engine. This led me to giving up and just being happy with the OEM ignition. However, on October 1st, 2021, that all changed. In one of my mini bike builder groups that I'm in, I saw a post made by Daniel Creaney. Mr. Creaney was sharing a video of the tail end of one of his CDI Kit install videos. And this really caught my attention because it was a GX200 on a mini bike with a CDI on it. So I immediately messaged him and asked him about how much the kits cost and how much work went into installing it. And that's whenever I discovered that he only sells them for $150. And it's a bolt-on kit. So I decided to make this video purely so others would have the knowledge that there is a bolt-on CDI kit out there for the GX200. I will leave a link in the description below that will link you to Daniel Creaney's Facebook group where he promotes his CDI kits and offers contact details for buying them, as well as his own videos of it being installed and utilized on GX200 clones. I do plan on obtaining one of these, and there will be a follow-up video if and when that occurs. If you learned anything from this video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. There will be more content coming. Oh, and one last thing. I got a video of one of these kits running on a mini bike, and well, I'm just going to play the video segment of them revving it up because it's pretty impressive. If you know what a GX200 sounds like, and you know what a GY6 sounds like, this would honestly fool you if you were trying to go by audio. And that's just to say that you can tell, even when it's on its higher RPMs, it's still eating. I mean, just hear it for yourself.